So I did that timeline of their history with homophobia and the LGBTQ community and stuff. And
which was an awesome episode. It really was.
Thank you, man. The timeline really just kind of laid out the events sequentially, but doing that is where I kind of really started to see that scope of power, because you start to see like, wait a second, this happened. And then shortly after that, these words and these ideas and this supposed science, this is what was becoming mainstream. Like, right, they were largely directing the conversations from the anti-gay side, and largely like the direction the country was taking it, and this whole idea of it's not natural, and the idea that they thought people were saying that being gay means you have a female spirit in a male body. That came from them too. Like, that was, the whole thing was, and then obviously that then plays out even more with like Prop 8, Prop 22, where they're literally legally, they're trying to influence elections. That's,
and using incredibly stupid amounts of money that it's nothing to them. It's nothing. So here's a great example to illustrate just, how much money doesn't, how expenditures don't matter to them, but also are extremely crucial. And let me talk you through this a little bit. So, the Community of Christ was founded as the RLDS Church. That was Joseph Smith III, who was the rival faction to Brigham Young. Joseph III cobbled together all of the saints in the Midwest, in Illinois and Michigan, states that were not Utah, while Brigham Young was building up his theocratic empire in Utah.
Right.
And the RLDS have, there are basically two factions of Mormonism that have all of the original founding documents for the church. And that's the Brighamite Church that is in Utah, and then the Community of Christ, which became the Community of Christ from the RLDS in 2000. And the Community of Christ has the printer's manuscript to the Book of Mormon that they recently sold to the Brighamite LDS Church, because the Community of Christ is a quickly waning small religious fringe group.
Right.
And they have disavowed anything that makes them distinctly Mormon. They're just mainstream Christian, whereas Brighamite tradition is sticking hard to their guns on the Book of Abraham and the Book of Mormon being an historical text and so on and so forth.
Literal,
Yeah, and there's a lot of nuance to this, don't get me wrong, but the Community of Christ, because they are so quickly dwindling and they need a lot of money to fund projects in order to even keep their buildings open and to keep their current greatest liability from, falling in on itself. That's the Kirtland Temple in Ohio.
Right.
They sold that printer's manuscript to the LDS Church for $35 million. Now, that is, if I'm not mistaken, the most or the second most expensive single manuscript that has ever traded hands in all of history.
Right.
I believe it is the most money traded for a manuscript, but when adjusted for inflation, it's the second most. And the other one was like a Leonardo da Vinci text or something to that effect.
Gotcha.
$35 million. So that is huge to the Community of Christ. They need that to
stay alive.
So much to stay alive. The LDS Church, $35 million is nothing.
Absolutely. Drop in the bucket. Them. And by the way, for $35 million, I'll shut down my show. Just saying.
Me too.
Church. Yeah.
Me too.
Come on, LDS Church. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. I'll start up another one because I'm devoted to truth instead of money. But I'll shut down my podcast. Absolutely.
I think I'd go more behind the scenes on it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
infiltrate.
I don't mind not being the face, but
Apostle Mr. Atheist in 15 years time.
Oh no. Yeah, that would be funny too. Yeah, that would, and then come out and just be like, hey guys, it turns out it is all bullshit. Just at General Conference. You got to start off all apostle like my brothers and sisters.
Yeah, exactly.
We made the whole shit up.
Then you'll have Prophet Uchtdorf at the time come up and, preach from the pulpit. There are Judases amongst us.
Yep.
That's a deep Mormon history reference for people.
And then he'll word it weird. The note has been noted. Remember that?
Exactly.
That's some more insider Mormonism stuff. I think we do have to return to talking about you, because that is, while I could do the rest for hours.
Not as interesting, I promise.
Yeah. Well, We'll see. So in summary, Naked Mormonism, it is a chronology of starting from the beginning of Mormonism, and it's some of the stuff you learn. It's crazy.
It is so far beyond the craziness that is like popular Mormon history of like, oh, the first vision accounts are different. Oh, there's a bunch of different ones. And, the Book of Abraham, oh, it's such bullshit. The Book of Mormon has anachronisms in it. Can you believe it? Yeah. It's so far beyond the popular Mormon history. It's the deep dive.
It's Game of Thrones without dragons, man.
Yeah. I mean, in some people's dreams. Yeah.
Murder, sex, and power struggles. That's ripe in there.
It's good. And we need Game of Stones, everybody. Game of Stones.
Let's do this.
Crowdfund it.
Yep. HBO, come on. $35 million. Right. That's all. We already put the tag down.